is so striking to see how figures like Tucker Carlson and others on Fox are rooting for Putin.
Vladimir Putin does not want Belgium. He just wants to keep his western border secure. That's why he doesn't want Ukraine to join NATO. And that makes sense. Fox host unabashedly makes Putin's case. Imagine how we would feel if Mexico and Canada became satellites of China. Right-wing agitators spewing Russian propaganda into millions of American homes. Why do I care what's going on in the conflict between Ukraine and Russia? And I'm serious. Like, why do I care? Why. And why shouldn't I root for Russia, which I am?
Newsmax ran a cover story titled, Vlad the Great.
Russia, 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 Russia is bad.
Russia, Russia, Russia. Russia, if you're listening, I think in terms of leadership, he's getting an A. Certainly a respected leader. He's respected in his country. I think Putin's been a very strong leader for Russia. The truth is that he is strong and he's tough. Putin says very nice things about me. I think that's very nice. He just said it's not Russia. I will say this, I don't see any reason why it would be.
The visiting Republicans not only didn't pressure the Russian government about them monkey-wrenching our election, they also didn't really pressure them about anything else either.
So you're a Russian agent. I mean, let's not even engage in that because it's so outrageous. As they used to say when we were kids growing up in the United States, what's good for the lightly populated Russian colony of Ukraine is good for us.
It's his defense of Russia's threat against Ukraine the Kremlin-backed channel now wants to highlight. Excellent performance.
Unbelievable. I just, wow. Well, today's Wednesday, and we didn't have World War III, so I'm kind of glad I didn't eat those 2 bags of Stacy's pita chips. You know, Brett said to keep them nearby, just in case. Just in case. Because we see Russia not removing troops to the Ukraine border, but adding troops to the Ukraine border. Not that, Americans are into this story at all. Not at all. Only, Fox News viewers are into it, but they're into it for anti-American reasons. They're into it because they really, really hate democracy. They're afraid that there might actually be equal justice under law in this country one day, and we can't have that. They can't have it. So, I mean, the right wing has gone ultra crazy. I don't know why they don't report on what is going on in Redding, California. I don't know why they don't report on Shasta County. That it's been taken over by a militia who threatens violence over things that don't even exist anymore, like, vaccine. We don't have vaccine mandates, okay? I mean, maybe if you're a healthcare worker, you had a mandate or some such crap. Maybe if you were a non-citizen truck driver coming from Canada where there was a vaccine mandate on their truck drivers, and if you chose not to get vaccinated, even though it was the law in Canada or it was a mandate in Canada, and you drove over the border as a non-citizen, then the United States would actually, say, show us your vaccine card. I don't even understand how people got so twisted and turned around against, the democratic, principles that guide this country. I mean, I guess it was just being inconvenienced by a pandemic. I guess that was it. But now you've got the law and order party literally lining up behind thugs. Literally lining up behind, people that want to beat people that want to shoot people, they couldn't root hard enough for that Kyle Rittenhouse kid who, shot people in the street. He was a fake medic and he went out in the street and shot people. Now they're rooting for people who literally do violence on airplanes. On aircraft. I mean, this is amazing. The Republican Party is done with law and order. I just want you to understand this. After they, it's kind of like Sandy Hook was a turning point for me in this country. Sandy Hook was a big, bright, white light that shone on the gun issue for me. And I realized back in, 2012, that America didn't prioritize our children over guns. They don't prioritize our children over disease, obviously. They don't prioritize our children to, for medical attention, nor do they, prioritize our children for food and, the general welfare of their well-being. They don't. But when I saw that they would absorb the shock of sixth graders literally being gunned down in their school with a Remington Bushmaster, which is a military weapon, and that they would say, oh, well, that's the price you pay, and that they were willing to go there and do that and, just absorb that as part of freedom, told me a lot. It told me a lot about the Republican Party. It told me a lot about the law. It told me a lot about, American parents, conservative parents, and an ultra-orthodoxy in this country that prioritized their love of guns over the love of children. And I knew not just that they were hypocrites, but I knew that on the gun issue, all was lost. All was lost. Now I'm realizing that on the general violence issue, all is lost. When January 6th happened and people were beating police officers with American flags, or beating police officers, which really was the height of irony, with Blue Lives Matter flags, literally beating them, tasing them, bear spraying them, pushing them, shoving them, crushing them, holding these flags, holding these Blue Lives Matter flags, I knew that all was lost with regard to law and order and that party. I knew that they had said it is the price we're willing to pay to have Donald Trump as our president, that this man was worth trashing law and order, trashing the Constitution. Now I see 8 Republican senators, Cynthia Lummis from Wyoming, Mike Lee of Utah, James Lankford of Oklahoma, Marco Rubio of Florida, Kevin Cramer of North Dakota, Cruz of Texas, Hovind, North Carolina, and Rick Scott of Florida. They literally wrote to the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, on Monday to protest a no-fly list for passengers who get violent with airline personnel on board flights that are in the air. So much for the remembrance of 9/11. Okay, so much for that. And heralding, the brave, passengers who, said, let's roll and pushed back against violence on the aircraft. No, they don't. I mean, don't you understand that we now have pilots, airline pilots, who are literally your dad having to turn the plane around because surly, drunk, violent, right-wing, lunatic fringe passengers think that they get to punch a flight attendant or, punch another passenger because they have to wear a mask or because they're in the mood to be violent on an airplane. And you have 8, and so what the airline industry wanted to do was create a no-fly list for people who are violent, have been violent, have already been violent on a flight, and tell them that they're not allowed to fly, a no-fly list. Not for people who grumble about wearing a mask, not for people who feel inconvenienced, not for people who aren't happy about it, but for people who actually committed violent acts on an aircraft. And the Republican senators are against it. They're against it. They're for violence on airplanes. They're for violence at school boards. They're for militias taking over entire cities' government. They're for beating police officers with Blue Lives Matter flag. What are they against? Don't have time to listen to the live show? Want to hear more on your schedule? Go to RandiRhodes.com and buy a stinking podcast.